What's up, guys? I almost forgot to record. Taking the stock F20B injectors out of the car and trying to get the 100 tune 1500s fitted. They're supposed to go straight into LS style or K series things, but this manifold in general and this rail have always made it kind of hard to mount any injector. But I got the 14mm to 11mm top pad adapters in because these Bosch injector inlets are 14mm, so I'm trying to fit that all in there so I can at least run 1500s, or I might have to throw in some old 1000s that I haven't had time to really flow them yet, so I didn't want to. But regardless, I'm trying to get some better fuel in this car so y'all can watch me struggle with that. Alright guys, I got the 1500s mounted. Got to do a leak test, which means priming it, making sure the injectors I just installed ain't gonna leak from O-rings. Make sure we got fuel pressure. A telltale sign of a leak is if the gauge immediately goes down to 0 after you prime it. I don't have a check valve in the pump, but it would, at 60 psi, it would already be spraying fuel if I was gonna have a leak. I did some weird stuff on the hold on. All right, I got the 100 tune 1500 in and ghetto wired in the pigtails for it. Now I gotta start a bass map for the 4-bar. All right, I don't know how well y'all can hear it, but got a bass map in it to where it idles, so I'm gonna get to tuning now. All right, guys, after some technical difficulties with the dead times, not letting this thing respond to any corrections on the map, finally got it to idle. That's as far as we've gotten. So it's been like literally like 5 hours since throwing the injectors in and trying to hit the road at our private test and tune section.
Mexico, baby.
Mexico, yeah. So we're gonna try to get some data and see how this goes. We'll get back with y'all when we get some pulls in. All right, guys, we're gonna do a little third gear rip. See what the air fuels look like. No VTEC.
Ready?
Yeah. But that gear happened so fast, we had some gaps in the data, so we're gonna do a 4th gear pull. Still no VTEC. Alright guys, so as suspected, we hit our boost cut, which is I set to 15 pounds. You can see right here we hit 14.3. The air fuel went into the brake point for 17 pounds, which it was like a low 12, but on the actual gauge it was like 1180, which is fine with me. Even those low 12s are fine. This is just non-VTEC. But we can see over here and our boost settings on HTS, our boost cut is at 15, so I'm gonna have to raise it because we need to know what this thing is gonna do fully loaded. And I'm already just saying fuck this motor because there's no way in hell I should be hitting 20 pounds on a stock motor. But we gotta find where this little wastegate is gonna be able to taper off boost. So if either fuel runs away or we break up ignition or this thing just fucking grenades, we'll have to stop there. But we're gonna do another 4th gear pull and see if this boost will taper off. I'm gonna have to stop him. But we're gonna do another 4th gear pull and see what it runs away to. see what we got. Alright guys, so looking at the data log, it's pretty evident that it's boost creeping. So it leads to the tune being a little sketch. So as you can see right here in the black line, boost is pretty flat at, let's see, where is it? About, let me get these things to focus. So it tapers off at around 8. See, it stays flat and then gets to 10, but it hits my kind of my wall of no ignition because I don't want any advance there. So I was holding like 13, 14 degrees, but you can see right here this little spike is because the engine starts to get a little inefficient at 10 degrees of advance. We're basically slowing down the engine so hard the EGTs are just staying in the turbine, increasing manifold pressure, which is increasing it in a bad way. We're not even using that pressure, we're holding it back because of the ignition is too far, is not advanced enough. So I flattened out the ignition curve. I'm still being pretty conservative. We're on a mixture of ethanol, not full ethanol, but I'm going to try to hold the 14 into that 15 pound or 17 pound break point, and see if it doesn't lay over or it doesn't spike, because we want it to hold the 15 if we can, but we already know this gate's probably going to creep past that. Our boost cut's 20, and that's where I'll hit the wall of very low ignition, and then our boost cut is there 20. So we're going to do another 4th gear pull and see if it holds boost consistent at 14 degrees. Alright guys, we're gonna see how this this ignition van fares on another 4th gear rip. Alright guys, hopefully y'all can see my map good. So we did another ramp run, 4th gear pull, and this time it hit 16.69, and instead of it laying over power wise, it continued to boost creep and power increased and stayed. The ignition, I kept it like linear and a flat ignition curve, but we know that 16, that other pound and a half or whatever it was, increased power like significantly because it didn't lay over. Now if we do get to 20, it's gonna lay over, and 14 is probably the real low end of where it won't lay over in power, because it like our butt dynos can tell that it was increasing in power still. But we are revving a little higher than we need to without VTEC, and it's boost creeping. So now, that being the low cam profile, once we get on VTEC, this thing's really going to have some exhaust gases moving through the turbine and may spool even more. And normally when you can run more optimal ignition, which I am going to have it taper off until I get air fuel optimized and the VTEC map, but the less ignition we run, the more heat we create through EGTs. So I'm gonna have to get the VTEC map linear. But if we're still creeping in the fuel curve, and you can tell that the fuel curve is chasing the boost up, is the telltale sign that boost is just increasing. Now if you had a really good gate that got you to your target boost, it would look like a flat curve and then run the RPM and hold that boost. But I have a very bad manifold design with very bad wastegate priority, so that's why we're running into this boost creep. And boost is gradually increasing as RPM increases, which is just, I mean, it feels like the car is getting faster and faster, but it's not a really safe and efficient way to run a turbocharger system. So we have good fuel here in this map, but it's just like, is it going to be worth it when we get to the high cam map to have all that boost creep? Because say this thing does hit 20 pounds and wants to continue to hit more and more, the target air fuel is going to chase that break point here and continue to chase a different map that we didn't log anything in there. So it was low 12s, about 1180 is what I was seeing most of the time, where it finally hit the peak boost. These lean 12.5s were because it was still increasing to the next breakpoint. So if we were to hold 10, I'd be fine with a low 12 or that 1250. I'd be fine because it's just on the way up. Then you get here and you notice that it gives you that little flash of 11.9 because I have the boost ramping up. So also this mid-range section probably could use some fuel because it's spooling a lot faster in that 5,000 RPM range. But it hits that gate so hard, it keeps moving on to the 17, to the next breakpoint, to the next breakpoint, which we don't know where it's going to fall off because we're finishing 4th gear and it's still flying away. We're not even in VTEC. So this is going to be a tricky one. We may abort the VTEC session, but I'm going to go ahead and enable VTEC and see what happens. Alright folks, after some discussion with Yordi, we kind of don't know till we know. So we hit about almost 17 pounds in the low cam map. And
yeah, we're about
basically,
to break into a whole other animal.
Yeah, basically we're ready to hit VTEC. And the crossover is going to be spicy, to say the least. So when we get into this, man, it's following VTEC right now. But anyways, we don't know what's gonna happen when we hit VTEC because it's gonna increase turbine pressure drastically. So boost is gonna want to spike up a lot more, and we don't know where we're gonna end up. Hopefully we hit a boost cut or we're able to let out in time if air fuel goes in a negative way. So let's see how it goes. All right, guys, we're about to do a 4th gear ramp run. First time hitting VTEC, so it might just hit a wall of fuel or it might lean out. But if it's good, my boy Yordi's gonna stay in it, and we're gonna pray this thing holds together. Ready? Yeah. All right, so it just went super rich, but it didn't misfire, so we're gonna let it eat for a little bit, and hopefully it levels out on the air fuel. When VTEC was engaging, so it was just going rich, so I flattened out the curve. We're gonna try this again. Wall of fuel again, so we're gonna try this again, guys.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh. Hey, clutch finally getting some heat in it.
Yeah.
Engine, so we're gonna go ahead and make sure there's no debt on the plugs because I don't have the knock sensor, so things were about to get very, very spicy for a stock motor. So we're gonna pull over and we're gonna check the plugs, make sure they're not specking or nothing crazy. Alrighty guys, we're both kind of nervous. Stock motor, and it was starting to eat power levels that don't seem like a stock motor should be hitting. So we aborted that run at 13 pounds and only 12 degrees of timing, but it just felt like it was making a lot of power. So we're just like kind of just doing a quick hit, and the plugs, they're real rich. I'm not gonna lie, these were used plugs, but if you look at the porcelains, they're doing all right, no specking. And crazy thing is, shit you not, when you already put these in, they were dirtier than this. So they kind of like did some self-cleaning. We're good. We're at, what, 18 thousandths, right?
Yeah.
No breakup besides when it gets too rich. But we're going to have to just kind of ride it out to, I think we'll try to take it to like 6 maybe this time. Because I don't know what RPM that was. So we'll go out a little, we'll take it out a little farther. But if it starts to get too like where it's boost creeping, we're going to let off again and keep checking these plugs, keep checking things, because we don't want to grenade it immediately due to boost creep. Like I said, that 13 pounds at 12 degrees was way more spicy than no VTEC at 17 pounds and 14 degrees, just because the efficiency is like there. That's where the motor needs to be, is in its VTEC cam. But it's just a little, I don't know, like, not to say we're scared, but you know, we're trying to do things slowly. We're on the street, and I actually didn't even bring my Knock Monitor Pro, which I was bragging about the other vlog, but I'm keeping timing real soft, and we just kind of were working bugs out. But when things start to go smooth is usually when things can go wrong very fast. So we're just kind of taking our time. I mean, it won't be the end of the world if it blows, but if we can just kind of take our time and ease into the power, being that we're on the street, that's what we're trying to do. So hopefully we can get a little higher in the RPM. But mind you, again, this is a very terrible gate setup, and there's only supposed to be a 7 to 10 pound spring. But the higher you rev it, the worse, the more that exhaust flow hits the turbine and does not want to slow down in speed, because this gate's not letting enough out. But yeah, we're gonna throw these plugs back in, and just pray for the best. What do you think, Jordy?
For being my first time in a Civic hatch with a F20B VTEC,
you didn't even ride in the whole motor, right?
Nigga, no bullshit. Like, that's no bullshit.
So pray for our motors, guys. I don't know why we do this, but we love it. We love it. All right, you already told me I should be recording, because we're as he nervously puts my plugs back in, my used plugs back in. We're just chit-chatting how sketchy this is, but yeah, we're just gonna continue to do it. It's like one of those things you know you probably shouldn't be doing, but the more you continue to do it, the more you're just like, fuck it.
Hey, but no cap though.
This is the Chronicles,
like
fuck it.
I recommend y'all having like zip ties on the go for shit like this. Zoom in.
Yeah, we almost lost.
We almost lost this little vacuum hose right here to our fuel pressure regulator, and if we lose that, that is no bueno. So the first thing we're gonna do when we get it back to the house is at least put some zip ties on this motherfucker. Excuse my language.
Yeah,
but yeah, get some zip ties on it. That way we can at least know that that's a little bit more secure, and we know we ain't gotta worry about that.
Yep.
Cause yeah.
All right, next clip. We're gonna try to stay in it a little longer. We both were like, nah, we alright.
Yeah, we're honest. It's
not even like, cause like it's one thing when you hit 18 pounds with no timing, no VTEC, but when you hit that VTEC, solid boost in VTEC, I mean that
VTEC cracks.
That spicy. It's extra spicy.
It put me back in my seat. You know what I'm saying? It put me back in the seat. That she was chooching a pass right there.
Yeah, and we're not like trying to brag, guys. It's just, it's a gutted hatch, and it's on only a B16 trans, so it's not like getting crazy mile an hour, but the acceleration is what we're feeling. You know, it's just kind of, we want to take it slow, because we don't want it to be too good to be true, and we're getting hot on something that we shouldn't be, which, I mean, obviously that's what we're doing. That's the point of this turbo kit. Get hot on this stock block. It's a hot block.
Spicy, baby.
Yeah.
Spicy.
All right, we're gonna get back to the pools. All right, guys. So again, we're not trying to overhype stuff, but this is Jordy's first time hitting VTEC, and it's in a boosted F20B. So his nerves are increasing my nerves, and since he hasn't driven this and it could get out of hand for him, we're gonna go ahead and lower the rev limit. Now, I probably have no business taking the motor to 82 just while tuning, So we're gonna take it to 75 for now.
Try and see if we can at least
and just in case, you know, it like spins or we get a little too excited. We know we have a conservative limiter, and then we'll work our way up in increments. In all realness, if it gets to 74 clean, I can leave it there and turn it up at the track, because this is gonna go straight to the track after, if it survives this tuning session.
Yeah, that's really our main goal, is trying to get it dialed ish. That way we can know when at least when we hit the track, it's got a pretty decent bass map. You know what I'm saying? That way at least we know we're not going to the track
with just nothing.
Yeah, making ourselves look like fools. You know what I mean? At least we have somewhat dialed in, so when we get to the track, then we know, okay, we're here, and then we can add as the track asks. You know? Yeah.
And you already saw me punch this in, but I kind of just didn't even say nothing. But he saw that boost cut, 20 pounds on a stock motor. We're hoping by that RPM limiter we might not hit that, but there's very little chance that this boost levels out with the terrible gate priority that I keep explaining. And I should already explain that we aborted this mission, but we're still on this mission, so we're gonna record this in case something crazy happens. We'll get back to y'all when we're on this ramp run. Alright guys, here goes nothing. Stock F20B block, about to hit 20 pounds. Hopefully it stays together. Spicy as a bitch. Hey, turn off the light. You can't turn off the light while recording?
No.
Alright, we're about to pull over anyways. So, fuel was like just ridiculously rich. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm running on a very dirty, old used wideband that is just reading really bad and in a bad location on my up pipe, very close to atmosphere. So, like, in all reality, I'm not doing this tuning stuff nearly as efficient as I should be, but hey, we're having fun. And we just peaked 6,600 RPM, and it crept up to 16.69 pounds. So we're gonna look at this log on the graph, and I'll get back to y'all. Alright guys, I don't know how well y'all can see or hear because it's getting really windy out here, but we started that ramp run at 2,700 RPM, and those short runners are spooling extremely fast. For a GT35 with an 82AR turbine, I feel like this is pretty fast because the PSI is a little ahead of the RPM per pound wise.
Yeah, no, she's treating that turbo
6
quick.
pounds before 4,000. 8 pounds by 4,000. And then VTEC's at 45 just for tuning purposes, which is not even bogging, right?
No,
it just starts to take off, right?
Yeah, she fucking.
So you can see right here, air fuel is actually where I want it, low 11s, just for safety. And then it just goes like, it just pegs the air fuel rich. You can see this yellow line, and then that's VTEC hitting, and then boost, you can see it's like steadily increasing, and then when VTEC hits is when it starts to kind of go up, and that will be our boost creep. So you'll see, I don't know what the purple line is. Let's see. Injector duty ramps in because of VTEC, and you can see the reason that happens too right there. Hopefully I can see good. So we're doing an 1150 air fuel is what I'm targeting at, where's it, at 8 pounds. Hopefully I can see this data. And I really am recording this 2 for our purposes, so we can look back and say, what the heck were we doing? We're just having fun, guys. I'm not a pro. Jordy's first time drive VTEC and boost at the same time, and this is just an experience in itself. Man, we're just having fun, guys. But yeah, it goes real rich, and also it pulls 2 degrees of timing when VTEC hits, so very conservative timing. But over here is where we're concerned that it's spiked right here. It ramped up to 16, and you can see ignition drops off, but I can tell you guys, power did not drop off. I don't know if y'all can tell in the video. Again, we're not hitting crazy mile an hour or anything. That was only 90 miles an hour, so trap speed's going to be very low with this car. But I just wanted it to be a fun driving experience. Once I'm on the slicks, it should trap at least 120, I'm hoping. That's only 6,600 RPM. And we'll probably won't turn it too far past that 74 as long as we can get there before hitting 20 pounds. Either or whatever happens, kind of just happens. But I'm not going to add any timing yet. I'm still trying to figure out where boost may taper off. And again, this engine is clearly evident that once you get under 14 degrees of advance, it kind of stalls the engine's, like, I don't even know what you call it, but it kind of like almost causes this brake boost effect where it just increases EGTs more than like power, I guess. But yeah, that peak, we both kind of were ready to just abort that, just again to do small increments in these ramp runs. And it was super rich. I don't know if I even want to lean it out. I wanted to see if we can get to the limiter, even though it's rich. I'm not sure how realistic this air fuel is, honestly, because it feels really good and it's not even breaking up. And if the air fuel were to be that rich, I mean, I feel like it would misfire, but it must have a hell of a plug. What is in there? The 8s, right?
The 8s, yeah.
The 4554
on
NGK 8s at 18,000 scap. So
type 18,000. And
stock distributor on this F20B. Things are looking real linear. Besides, you know, obviously the air fuel just tanking down. So flat and a little heavy on the mid-range because that's where the turbo just really starts to light off. But when we hit VTEC at 45, right here, it's just flat and holding a very rich air fuel. It's kind of linear as well, so I could lean this all out, but I just don't feel the power reduction from going from my target of 1150 to the 850, which, I mean, you would feel a big power reduction, but we don't. So we might just repeat this run and see if we can get to the 7,500 RPM limiter without reaching the boost cut of 20 PSI, which we don't know. So we just gotta find out. I mean, that's a part of this. Is technically like the way I test and tune or road tune on the private road, my private tuning road in Mexico.
Bienvenidos a Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a lot better on a dyno. We would have already been done, but we could also have already been done chucking this motor to the heavens.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna repeat this ramp run. I will say this, the F20B I'm not super familiar with, but if it was a very, very well breathing turbo kit on a B series, I would still be holding at least 16 degrees, or at least with this engine seeming like it likes this 14 degree area, and that's where it'll hold without losing too much efficiency. I would consider it conservative, being that we have ethanol, but if the more we creep into the breakpoints of the 16 area, the more timing gets pulled out. And we're not really feeling that effect yet, but it definitely can be a cause to this boost creep issue, because it causes EGTs to increase. I don't have EGT readings, but I'm gonna stop rambling on, and we're gonna try to see if this thing tapers off before limiter. If it does not, and we hit boost cut, this is gonna sound really bad, but I'm gonna see if I can hold the 14 degrees and let the engine breathe a little happier, because it'll do the ramp run a little faster and maybe not increase boost too much. All right, guys, we're gonna try to get to the limiter. More boost cut. What's that?
You heard that, right?
Yeah. What the fuck was that? Oh, bitch, we hit 20 pounds, nigga. Oh my god. Alright, yeah, the session's over. We're officially calling the session there, guys. We just boost cutted 20 pounds. Stock F20B. It's just, at this point, it's just like, I haven't committed to saying fuck this motor. And this is probably gonna be for us, or this video is just gonna be absurd, and I'm not even gonna edit it. I'm just gonna show y'all what we do because we love it and we're addicted to it, and this is our drug. So yeah, guys, we're gonna have to abort this session. I'm gonna go ahead and cut and turn off the light so I can show y'all why. All right, guys, here it is, the tippy top of the log that we are calling it quits on this tuning session. Again, this is a stock F20B engine. I really wouldn't call this a successful tuning session because it's being aborted before completion due to, obviously, 20 pounds of boost. Dual ball bearing GTX3582r, absurdly rich air fuel, and a conservative ignition timing is why this thing did not spit its rods out. And you can see the ramp run here, flooring it steady, and then just as RPM goes up, the gate just simply cannot release gas pressure or manifold pressure, and it ramped all the way up to 20 pounds right before our 7,000 goal. So we really can't run this setup out to where we want it. Mind you, guys, this is literally like a 7-pound spring in here. It just goes to show you how bad the wastegate priority is. I've said it 100 times probably. This edit is just gonna be something probably raw and crazy, but the engine did survive. You want to start it up? Hopefully she's still starts.
It's 10 full tune. She's gonna start.
Yeah, turn on the light in the dash. So yeah, so she's still running, guys. I saved the log, and we're gonna save it there. Honestly, guys, I'm a little speechless. Jordy's freaking out because this is something he hasn't got to experience. And let me turn the light on. Yeah, so neither of us has experienced a stock F20B doing this. And 2.5-inch downpipe that I cut the 3-inch V-band off of. Dual ball bearing GTX3582r turbine housing. I don't know if you can see that. But anyways, motor's still ticking away. I don't know how it's that spicy with only 11.5 degrees of timing. Probably because cylinder pressure is just increasing so rapidly. Obviously, engine's producing some amount of power. I know it's not optimal power, but what do you think about that, Jordy?
That was very spicy.
Yeah.
And before our limiter, yeah, it's pretty crazy. She's
Yeah, it's kind of an open-ended question as to if this was a cool session. We had fun. There's no denying that.
It definitely was a good session because, I mean, the car's still running. It hasn't blown up.
But
a few more bugs that we got to work out, especially that weight.
Yeah, I probably should say what we could do. The best fix is a quality manifold, obviously. But the budget fix for me is to see if I can fit another gate anywhere here, or just simply cut that off and install a very big wastegate flange. I do have a 44mm V-band gate, but there's very limited room. So even if this just was a series, guys, that was a crazy test and tune, honestly, I'm happy with it. I get to drive the car home, and this is gonna be it for the vlog. I wanted to go to the track, but we have to abort the tuning session. It's like 4 in the morning. Really not too much I can do right now. So we're going to have to end it here on an abort mission, I guess.
Y'all stay tuned for the next video that we post about this hatch. We should hopefully be at the track.
Yeah, so if it makes it to the track, we'll definitely have that content coming to you guys. But I may upload this crazy experience me and Yordi just had. I mean, the milestone of any Honda enthusiast hitting VTEC for his first time is in itself an experience. Now add the jankiest turbo kit you can slap together with scrap parts that were laying around in my garage. Never intended to use this junk manifold. Never should you have to use a 38 millimeter in today's world where a 44 millimeter V-band is only $60. Mind you, that's knockoff, but it will release more gas than that will. Yeah. And what do we learn today? Set a boost cut, right, Yordi? And actually floor it, because sometimes you can creep through a cut and you won't know it, but you're gonna hurt something. But I want to read the plugs, but we just need to get home. And yeah, guys, this setup is nothing professional. I slapped it together, but we didn't bust one pipe. We didn't crack anything yet. I'm not a professional fabricator. It's just something I just needed. Like, I needed this adrenaline rush to keep me in check, keep me down on earth, and it will humble you. These cars will humble you the second you think you're the king of it. It will break. And we just are happy to survive the tuning session. So stay tuned for the next one, guys.